first time I have ever been banned from Google. Thank you. I set up a Gmail account and Google went, "You're using a bot. Tell us what you're doing with it."
Why you want to see co-founders. You don't want to see a single founder company.
I'm a terrible panhandler. I don't professionally panhandle well. The pitch to an investor is not the same pitch you make to a customer.
$299.
Who would have thunk it that these two young lads way back yonder in March of 2020, days after the pandemic hit America and the world, that the talk of the world would be about a lobster?
That's right. We'll probably get into OpenClaw at some point on this show.
New shirt? Is that a new shirt Thursday? Do we got a new shirt rocking?
It is a new shirt. This is like, it might be the public debut.
Oh, okay. Let's go.
I was at the 757 collab, 757 Accelerate, Meet the Cohort last night down at Waterman's at the ocean front. And yeah, it was great. Good time. They purposely picked that as a different place to do a Meet the Cohort because there are some members of that cohort that are not from this area. So it's nice to bring them to the region, show them the oceanfront, give them a little look-see of the boardwalk, if you will, and see more than just Granby Street in Norfolk.
Sure. Give them a little taste of the drink that was not concocted here.
I had a taste or two of that last night. Yeah.
We have not discussed this, and we won't go ad nauseum here today, but I just want to make the point that for months, maybe even over a year at this point, I have said that it seemed like the Maryland-based Orange Crush was the originator, and Kristen Crowley, a few episodes ago, did confirm that. So,
but we changed the recipe, and so our recipe is ours.
Well, I mean, I guess that's fair. It's Grandma's recipe. We are delighted today, episode 299. Crazy to think about that when Tim and I were just sitting in here, I was rocking actually a tie, day one, jean jacket as well. Tim wearing the exact same outfit, I'm sure. Same hairstyle as well. Different audio booms.
because that's another conversation, but how an echo developed over the course of time that I can't get rid of.
Okay. So who would have thought many, many years ago, I think we're in year 7 or 8 at this point, we are delighted to have a friend of the program, longtime individual who has been requesting, demanding, wondering how he can get on the show, Mr. Chris Machut.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Long-time listener, first-time caller. Who started that?
It was back from the radio shows in the day, right?
No, they still do that. So sometimes I'll have ESPN downstairs on during the day, so the dogs can watch sports. And Rich Eisen, who has been on instead of Pat McAfee recently, he has callers call in still. And that's a big syndicated, on Sirius XM, on ESPN, like to have a random caller just come in. He's like unfiltered. You never know what these guys are going to say. I love to hear it. Like we should do that. We should do that for episode 300.
Listener. I'd never called in though. Where's your toll-free number?
It's 1-8. Chris, you and I met. Tim, I recall meeting Chris.
14 years ago, Zach.
It was probably 2011. It was right before Start Norfolk. I believe the introduction, probably from Marty Kazabowski. If I'm being.
Yeah, I think it was because right. you were over in the Ghent area of Norfolk, like at that other business before going.
Okay, so we're still there. You and I met at a coffee shop, I believe that used to be called Bean There, downtown Norfolk. Which Tim, for your reference, it was right in that same building as Lisa Fournier's Norfolk Fair Trade on the corner of that coffee shop.
Yep.
And Chris had just moved back from the Philippines, where he had been running a telecom. Yeah, maybe
call center, business to business lead generation call center. Yawn
in the actual Philippines.
Yawn. Yep.
And was working on potentially something else at that point, but stay connected. Obviously,
I had actually just sold that company.
It sold it. Okay.
Looking for my new gig, and this idea came about. So,
Oh, let's talk about selling a business first. How do you decide that you want to sell the business? How much do you sell it for? Do you decide that you want to keep going into this thing? Because a lot of people, when they sell their businesses, I think some people, maybe just the general public, would be like, okay, they're going to retire, whatever. But you just realize this wasn't enough cash. Want to keep doing it? Like, how do you kind of go through that whole flow?
There's so many different variables on the seller side. There could be the capital flow. There could be the distractions, attention, cash flow, whatever it was. For me, when I sold my first company, genuinely, I couldn't scale it at all. I've always been a serial entrepreneur from the bootstrapping perspective, and there was no ability for me to scale it beyond 50 employees. There was just, I learned the art of the real world MBA of once you get to a certain size, you start creating, what's the right term here, Zach? Silos, expanding silos. That it takes more capital to reinvest to create those next tiers to get it to that next level. And candidly, I had already built out all the infrastructure, and there was nothing technical anymore. Once you get beyond the 30, 40 employee size, it's no longer the startup 10-person crew. And at our peak, we had 50 employees, and it's a different business then. So put it up for auction. Had a buyer in Atlanta, helped them. Definitely, if you ever sell a business, you have to go along with it. Always assume you have to go along with it, so it's in good hands. Did that, and then that's when just kind of working the circuit, trying to figure out what I wanted to do next.
Did they buy the company as a lifestyle business that they wanted to run, or did they have something bigger that they wanted to?
Every buyer is going to have a different reason. This particular company wanted to basically just have the turnkey operations that they were folding into a new business.
Yeah.
He had the staff, already had the systems, already had the control panels, already had the web dashboard, full transcripts, all the audits, all call logs, everything. It was just and I built a better user experience for the customers, and that's what they were buying. The turnkey nature of it.
And in that time, I'm sure we had this conversation 13, 14 years ago, but you weren't interested in raising a little bit of money and just figuring out those multiple silos aspects of it. You weren't willing to do that to scale it.
Candidly, Zach, I'm a terrible panhandler. I don't professionally panhandle well. I'm an operator. I'm a serial entrepreneur, and raising is a different skill set than running a business. If you're not running the business, you're not making money for yourself. If you're basically, when you're going out fundraising, you have to focus on it. It's very difficult to focus and run the business. I actually met a really successful guy in the medical device space. I won't name his business, but he's gone through some of the angels in the area. Respect the heck out of him. They're doing a really great job. And I asked him, I was like, you're the president and CEO, man. You're the founder of the company. How the heck are you going all to these angel investment groups and VCs and running the business? And he just leans into me and goes, I don't run the company, Chris. And I went, oh, well, you're telling people you're the CEO and you're running the company. No, my job is to fundraise. That's all I do. I don't run the business. I know how the business operates, but I wouldn't be able to go after investment if I was also running the company. And that just further validated it. So do you want to run the company or do you want to go after investment?
Yeah, that's long said. Yeah, that fundraising is a full-time job for sure.
Especially at probably the amount, a big amount, right? I mean,
yeah, medical, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. That's a hard, going through FDA certifications and everything, you need millions and millions of dollars. So definitely not my bailiwick. I love the tech space, but more software, hardware side without needing FDA certifications and whatever's needed in the device world. I know there's a lot of it just with like ODU and Centera and all that stuff here in our backyard. So they do.
Tim, when you're in these discussions with your angel groups and whatnot, do they talk about that like the aspect of who's fundraising? Like, are they the actual operator? Does that type of stuff come up there, or how do you figure that out from any of that?
Well, I think that a lot of it comes down to like why you want to see co-founders. You don't want to see a single founder company. With that, you have, like to Chris's point, he wants to be the operator, and then you have someone who's a spokesperson for the company that's going to do the fundraising, so that you can both be working at the same time. And it's really, really hard to be a single founder while you're trying to grow a business and raise money at the same time. Super difficult.
Yeah, and it's also candidly, it's a permutation. I don't know if it's the right word. It's a problem with the fundraising side. So I've had this conversation too. So if you hired somebody that is an amazing pitch man for the business, the investors look, oh, you really sold me on investing in you. I want you to be the CEO. It's just kind of like, that's a different skill set, man. Doing the pitch to the investors is a very different skill set of being a CEO and operating the company. Or in this case, a gentleman that has medical device company has a COO that effectively, in my opinion, is maintaining the culture, the employees, the vision, and him in a CEO role. He's basically just, hey, COO, are we aligned that this is where the company's going? Okay, that's the messaging I'm going to give. I'm going to keep my investors happy. I'm going to talk to my investors. I'm going to keep them all engaged and do all the things I need to do being a good business CEO for those investors, but they're not running the company. And so I've really struggled with that.
Yeah, I don't think that I would ever invest in a company that would have a hired gun spokesperson. And I guess that I'm just earlier in the.
Therein lies the issue. So if I had that medical device company, which I never have, Tim, and I want to pitch it to you, how do I sell you on investing in me if I'm not actually the guy doing it? And how I do it is I never disclose that to you that I'm not actually running the company.
Yeah, it's not easy.
With that being said, we've talked about unicorns from very small individuals or individual companies, right? Let's just call it one to a handful, right? Does that change your appetite on this, knowing that conversation's been had for a year now, Tim? And am I articulating that right?
I'm not
so
sure
we talked about how there's going to be a single founder unicorn, right? Yeah. Where does the investment aspect go into that, knowing that so many are talking about
that's the crazy thing, though, is that it's to me, that's a question mark right now. When you have someone that's leveraging AI and using OpenClaw to generate revenue, that reduces the amount of capital that they need. So they may become a unicorn without even raising any money, or they may only have to raise money once. So that's still TBD.
Roger that. Okay. So you and I meet there. Did you go to the original Start Norfolk, Chris?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I feel like that is like the real like genesis of what we would call ground zero of the startup community.
Wait a minute, I think I was one of the judges.
No, that was Start Norfolk 3.
Sorry, memory.
All right. Anyway, that was the biggest one. That was the 450
that was the one on ODU campus, right?
Yeah, we had several on ODU's campus.
Okay, well then,
that was if it was
the unfinished space.
Yeah, unfinished.
When we were building out the building, I remember that. Yep.
Okay, so that's Start Norfolk 3, 450 attendees. Crazy day, crazy few days. That's where the Chip Dodd.
That's when I learned smart mouth makes you have a smart mouth. Too much of it, stay away.
There's my introduction to the craft.
Yeah, that was my heavy introduction to smart mouths. Wow.
You're welcome. I'd like to thank shout out to Smart Mouth, to Ned Lilly next Tuple, they had great glasses, by the way. I remember that.
Great beer, man. Big fan.
Mrs. Schmidt, RIP to her, and she wanted to do the glasses that had part Smart Mouth, part X-Tuple on them. I don't know that I still have one of those. I would love to find it if I do. But okay, so we meet there, start Norfolk, happens, which is really kind of for all intents and purposes. Is that right? Intents and purposes.
Yep,
Intensive
you nailed it,
personal
man.
Yeah.
Shout out to Zach.
Patience. Shout out Zach. Patient zero. That's where it all started, right? And then we do this thing, and it's interesting because it's like, wow, like we kind of were doing these meetups. And a lot of them were done through either at We Are Titans or other things that we would host. And it was there that I was like, oh, this is interesting. What would happen if we would work with these companies at a longer kind of period of time, instead of 3 days? And then we had raised a little bit of money, invested in 5 companies into cohort basis. One of them in the first round was, at the time, GM Engineering Services.
Yep. At the time,
am I right?
Correct. Yep.
And that's when you and I really got to know each other.
Yep. Dude, those were some of my favorite times of my life, candidly.
Yeah. What about it?
It was so candidly, badass space in downtown Norfolk, right? So right below the parking garage, right across from the main now. The main didn't even exist. It had, I think they upgraded it to put a Maersk container in the yard and made like a park, if you remember that.
They called it the plot.
The plot. There you go. Yep. Before the main was there is the plot. And they didn't even have the Slover library or anything like that. Okay. This was almost kind of like the beginning of the redevelopment of downtown. And what I absolutely loved about it, and I still tell this to my better half, I really enjoyed my commute was walking a mile in Kings Grant up to the boulevard, grab the bus that took me to the Tide. I took the Tide into downtown. My entire commute was an hour. Anyone that's done the downtown Norfolk to Virginia Beach, rush hour, on a great day, it's 25 minutes. It can be 35, 45 minutes to an hour. And I could have I'd get my 1 mile walk in. I'd have somebody else driving for me. It cost like round trip at the time, like $3, $4 or whatever it was. That wasn't the only part I liked about it. Well, it was not only the commute and experiencing the mass transit in Hampton roads, having someone else drive for me. I could, mess around with my smartphone, but then just getting into Hatch each morning, the vibe that you built, Zach, candidly, was not easy. I could definitely tell that. And we all had our stressors. But the vibe was what I imagined it was like on literally the left coast, the opposite side of the country. And you pushed through with empowering these startups, getting them the right people, bringing people in was just enormous. The city, I remember the mayor there a few times at the time. The city sponsoring it. It was a beautiful space, man. The city, and it wasn't being used, right? And just all the other little startups that were there, including us, and we kind of like carved out our own little corner, and then we grabbed the middle conference room because nobody was using that, and just kind of we started building, and that's where we started building what became today, which started out my pitch, Tugcam. Terrible name, still love it. It's funny, makes people chuckle that aren't in the maritime space, but pivoted to a 13-year product that's still going all over the globe, that got renamed to HoistCam. It helped build the Slover library. It helped build the main.
Wasn't it at the HRBT, or is it still at the HRBT?
Yeah, it's at the HRBT. It's been at the Hoover Dam. It's been in nuclear power plants.
I didn't know that it was at HRBT.
Yeah, we got it 2 years ago. Sold it.
Nice.
My team did. My amazing HoistCam team sold it.
Real quick, describe to people what the idea was and what HoistCam is.
So the original concept that I pitched Zach to get into Hatch is, I got this idea, Zach. You're gonna love it. I'm not gonna do movie quotes. No, the idea, when I was going between the last company that I sold and started into what is now HoistCam, at the time, um, I had some idle time, so I did a lot of amateur captain boating, motorboating, not sailboating. I'm a fan of actually moving, and not going to go down that debate. But once you started getting into larger vessels, vessels over 30 feet, they get a lot of blind spots around them. And if you're going to pay $250,000 for a boat, I didn't pay $250,000 for a boat. I was fortunate enough to have friends and different programs I was able to participate in to captain those boats. You're just sitting there looking like, dude, the blind spots on this are nuts. Why don't they just have a freaking backup camera, side camera all around it, right at the console, so you can actually see and not take things out? Well, it was a kind of a consumer market, and it was just running some cables to a split screen on the dash. It wasn't anything more that's in your car. And started just doing some customer discovery, and that was really the pitch with Zack, and and I think you thought it was funny too, Zack, was the concept of Tugcam, which was these towboats that go down our waterways push barges. When you push, just think for a second. If you're a vessel pushing this barge that can be up to 300 feet long, quick math, that's the size of a football field. Stand on the end of the football field, raise it up 20 feet in the air, and see what's in front of you. They can't. That area in front of that barge is known as a dead zone. And it's as a dead zone for a reason, because anything that gets in that zone is dead.
You did.
You did. Channel markers, birds. There's been incidents of human beings.
Well, I remember, yeah, because I remember you were doing at that time. The big pitch was that for people to articulate and to see was the duck thing, the duck boats.
Duck boats, yeah, the duck boat. That was actually the one pitch. That's when the duck boat got ran over by a barge. Dude didn't see him.
Man, I totally, yeah.
Were you around then? Do you remember that too? Okay.
Yeah,
so that was for people to articulate.
A big public thing, and
it's funny. It's funny because I don't know that I've ever actually told you this, so the fact that we're recording this is great. But I learned at your first hatch demo day that a CTO should not be your pitch man because you are not good at pitching, Mr. Chris Machut, and you know it because you already articulated it. But no, it's true because it's hard to articulate so much stuff when you're so technical. And so back then you were telling so many technical things.
I remember going around and around and around.
But then
the term situational awareness.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like,
but you got a lot better at over the time.
A lot of my background in that was doing and what actually broke through like the terrible term situational awareness, which I don't think I've used in a decade, is because of the environments that I came in before that, which was just from a technical aspect of it's a very private, commercial, government term. And I had done a bunch of independent contracting just because of this area and others of doing situational where C4ISR. Do you know what that is, Tim?
Yeah.
I don't.
C4ISR, one of the key situational awareness platforms. Nobody that isn't in it knows what that acronym is.
I didn't know what situational awareness was until you told me. And because I remember it probably took a couple of days. I'm like, yo, bro, at some point you're
gonna what does that mean?
Like, because we used to, and it came up because every Tuesday, to add some color to this, every Tuesday was mentor day. And so everybody would pile into hatch on Tuesday mornings, and then we would just workshop, wordsmith. And I just remember going round and round and round about situational awareness, trying to come up with a different name. But like different for me,
make it simpler.
I was like, dude, I'm a military guy, so like I know
there's an art of it. Marketing's not easy. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And engineers, right here, the worst marketers on the planet.
But you recognize that, and you were coachable in that, and we made it a lot better. And so I remember then when we go and pitch at, I would think it's 24, 25. 2014, 2015, when maybe earlier, when you go and pitch.
Earlier, 2013, dude.
That's when was the 757 Angels pitch?
No, geez.
Sometime in the last 10, 11, 12 years.
That one, I totally inserted foot in mouth the whole time.
But that was like a 3-minute pitch, if I recall, and I thought you did well. And I was
no. I inserted foot in mouth because nobody. Here's the biggest, Tim. This is the biggest problem I have with investors. They think all us naive business owners know how to pitch to them. So then, when somebody advises you to change, well, your valuation's not right. Okay, I'll change my valuation. And you make it higher. You didn't know. I didn't take the vibe that your valuation needs to go down, and I'm supposed to know that. Yeah. I've been so many times I've made, and you learn from all your mistakes. I've made many mistakes, and I learned.
I would argue is it really back then, and not knowing who you're pitching to. So I could be putting my foot in my mouth right now, without mentioning names. I would argue that they were as inexperienced as angel investors as you were as inexperienced as someone pitching the business. So I think that any experienced angel investor, they know what they're listening for. Having just a regular conversation. I'd say a lot
of people, there needs to be education on both sides.
Yeah.
So how to properly communicate to the keep in mind, we're talking a decade ago. You guys have done some amazing stuff to change all that over the last decade. Back at that time, it's just like, no, the founders that are having a cool idea have no idea how to pitch to you. And the ones that know how to pitch to you, it's because that's their skill set, man. They got really good at it, and they failed many a times.
The thing that bothers me about certain angel investors is that they're so quick to want to tell the founder how smart they are. And it's just like, dude, stop trying to show how smart you are. Listen, and you should have the mindset of, what if this works? If this works, my return is going to be
X,
100x, 200x, 1000x. And they should be placing those bets on those outlier type of events. Anybody can come up with reasons as to why something's not going to work.
Yeah.
But let's talk about, what if this does work? What does that look like?
And a decade ago, and I still struggle with that, the pitch to an investor is not the same pitch you make to a customer.
Right.
Hands down.
It's very different, and people have to realize
totally different.
It's called reading the room 101.
Nobody
reading
told
the room 101. Yeah. What I forgot about these days, specifically one thing that you had mentioned just a moment ago, and I can't wrap my head around the fact that if this thing dropped, I'm going to be very disappointed. Did you own the domain tugcam.com?
Totally, bro. Still own it.
And that's got to be worth something. I mean, with all the popular stuff, it's got to be worth
right
something.
Next owner, my man, to the right next owner. I mean, it is 15 years, yeah.
I mean, if ZachMiller.com is worth $5,000, according to
well, then you put it up for sale. Let's see what we can get for it, bro. Let's do it.
Dude, I mean, tugcam.com has got to be worth something. I mean,
for tugboat operators, yeah, that's exactly where my head is right now, too. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you go through Hatch.
Yep.
You end up plopping down for 5 years. You're basically there. You're at day one. Did you leave when we left, or were you?
Yeah, I left when I left when you guys said. So the guard of Norfolk. We're a little frustrated with that. I get it, politics. I think, bar none, Zach, I've never seen an incubator put on better so far that looked out at the interest. You didn't know what the hell you were doing. None of us did, candidly. But you tried really hard. You made a lot of mistakes. You did your best that you could to recover from it. As one of the participants in it, I was doing the same thing. We all had our different challenges. I think one of the biggest mistakes, I think you would agree with it, is the city of Norfolk going, yeah, Hatch, you need to go. because we have planned use for that space. And the real reason is it was because a new guard came in and it wasn't their idea. And this is my opinion, it wasn't their idea. So because it wasn't my idea, Hatch needs to go. Oh, and we're going to do all these things to that space. And I think a decade and a half later, it's still not occupied.
Well, the funny thing is that like it's an inside thing between Zach and I. Every time I walk down Granby in front of that space, I always take a selfie in front of it, just to like, still nothing here.
I did several times, and then I actually went up and I was just like, I was so tired of walking past it and seeing a HoistCam or whatever, Nataris or whatever the company was at the time on the door, which was super awesome. You know, putting all the
we never took the stickers off.
I scratched my sticker off because I was like, I'm not here anymore, bro. I'm not here.
Yeah. Okay. So we left in August of 17. So 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. We're in year 9 now. And the bet was 1 year. I made a bet with someone. Oh, it'll be occupied within a year. I was like, cool. I won that bet 9 times now. So, yeah, look, it's unfortunate. Obviously, I probably was a little more
well, there's still an opportunity for the city to do something with it. And I think supporting the local entrepreneur.
I think once they saw how the condition it was left in, they're like, dude, this thing's got to like,
it's got to
air out for 9 years before we can do anything.
Well, yeah, and there's nothing. I mean, I would candidly, it's changed so much down there too, especially with like the whole new building and the space down there. I'm trying to be positive, boys. Let's keep moving forward. You know, all
the positive.
The new building structure and stuff down there. You know, the university is doing so much more as well. I'm not sure what that space could do other than maybe just demo it and make it the first floor of the parking garage.
It is very hard to feel like I haven't done that math in a long time, though. It is very difficult to sit there and be like 8 years ago, over 8 years ago, almost 9 years ago, because we moved in June of we moved in right like the week after Harbor Fest 2012. Yeah. We were there till a little more than 5 years. Until 17. It's hard to believe 8+ years. I mean, it's because that was such a like crazy time. And the fact that we're still talking about it, I mean, I guess that's cool that people that we all built something so meaningful. And it wasn't just me.
What did I say to you, Zach? I said something to you a decade ago. I don't know if you remember this about that vision at that time. Do you recall? About the longer term vision of where ultimately we all land when I think the gray is setting in across the board here.
Definitely got more gray.
I resemble that remark.
Do you recall what I talked with you almost a decade about?
I mean, maybe, but let's bring it back.
We're bringing it back to the surface. I loved what you did. It was a bumbling around fustercluck that was super exciting. Had lots of great vibes. Tim's doing cool stuff. There's a lot of that incubator kind of accelerator, angel investor. There's another one that just cropped up too, and I don't remember. And I love the vibe. I love the energy. I think there's a lot of knowledge that has been learned and a lot of mistakes. You learn from your mistakes more than you do from your wins. I mean, that's always given. Is there a way to do it right? Is there a way to give back? Is there a way to actually have angels properly educated and not judge the startups? Is there a way to have startups properly educated and not judge all the different tiers, like I've just learned over time, the private equity, the VCs, the seed investors, the angel investors? If you've never done it before, man, it is so freaking intimidating because everyone thinks you should know what you're doing on both sides. If you've never been an angel investor before.
Dude, I remember the meetings where I was having conversations with very wealthy people. They were asking me questions. I'm like, I don't know. Like, and then you know
is
that
there
it's
a
like
way
very
to do
simple,
it
like,
right? And Tim,
dude,
you're the closest
common,
man
like
that I know
common
is
versus
doing it right.
preferred. Like people ask me about common versus preferred. I'm like, let me get back to. I can't recall what that is. I mean, obviously I know what that is now, but like
Right.
something as simple as that. I got into these like meetings with people that like now are winning like crazy awards in this region. But I'm just like, wow, how did I convince that guy to give me some cash to then give to these other companies? Like it's wild. I think sometimes not knowing and just like being willing to do it is like maybe it's kind of sexy to people, right? Where they're like, hey, like we got a couple of bucks we can throw.
Dude, we're living the Tom Cruise Top Gun 2 back then, man. Don't think, just do. We're just doing it. We didn't overthink anything.
Yeah. It's just we don't do a lot of memory lane like this deep, I feel like on the show, but it's crazy to think that like in 2011, 2012, 2013, just some of like the conversations and the meetings, and then to see a Randy Webb, who was one of the investors in Hatch 3, and how much he like put me under his wing and was like, hey, I'll show you how to get W to write you a check. And then like mentor, like as a guy who was a big financial guy, like got me to get, you know, and would give me all this time. Like it's cool to think. I guess the purpose of this point is just shut up and do like Tim just said, because someone out there is going to give you that time. And that person who you're terrified to reach out to is delighted probably to have that conversation with you and help you and to give you that introduction and to do all those next steps. But we get all this like head fog and brain funk. We're like, yeah, that person doesn't have that. They don't want this. And it's like, nah, bro, that person would love to talk to you because they're sick and tired of their day-to-day business stuff.
That's sales 101. I mean, across any
but so many people are afraid of that.
Yeah, and that's just the number one challenge. I think a lot of entrepreneurs is sales 101. I don't mind picking up the phone and calling somebody.
Well, that's because you owned a business where that's what they did every day.
Exactly, and that's why I created the business, because I knew everyone else was afraid of it.
But remember when we had Tim? We went to Kiwanis Shipyard, I believe it was called. Who at the time was that right? Kiwanis Shipyard, and one of the big and leading shipyards, I believe at the time, maybe still is, and trying to get the boat in there and like getting those meetings, like they were
really cool. It was really, and just seeing the environments, man. I've been on tower cranes. I've been in nuclear power plants. I mentioned I've been on tugboats. I've done overnight trips from Norfolk to Richmond on tugboat. Just if you haven't, not many people get to do those kind of experiences, and there's just
check the video out now at tugcam.com.
Yeah, at tugcam.com. But getting into as we go down memory lane and get more towards the, you know, where are things getting closer to the present versus the decade ago, the experiences have been just amazing, especially as I run into you guys and all the different events. And I genuinely do at some point want to be able to give back. Because the key is I really enjoy volunteering. I've talked to you guys on several different occasions about different things. Whatever I can, being an entrepreneur, you don't get a lot of time, but I actually get more out of volunteering than participating, me mentally, just learning and being helpful and all that other stuff. That is kind of my future. But as we, go down memory lane and come up to the present, Tim, were you going to say something?
Well, no, I was just saying shout out to you, Chris, in the sense that after all these years, you're still showing up, and like there's very, very few people that are still showing up from back in those days. So
back in the day.
Yeah.
Well, a little plug for anyone that is watching the stream, the two of you, HR Dev Fest tomorrow.
And you'll see Ian. You're going to be there? Okay. And Ian Taylor will be there.
Yep.
From Carey Logistics.
It's actually my first time doing. I love Ian. I haven't seen him in forever, but
I haven't seen him in a while either. But apparently his beard is as gray as Santa's.
Oh, for real? So that's an
Oh,
old
yeah.
picture that's circulating on LinkedIn for him being a speaker. Man,
I've been told he looks just like you would expect an economist to look like. So horseshoe, and then it comes down. That's what I've been told. So I look forward to him coming out, and
I think it'll be a good time. And that's all day tomorrow. So I dipping in and out. I got a couple things I got to catch up on. I got to go to travel next week.
I just respect so much that Kevin Griffin and the fine folks at RevCon, who I believe are the ones who are putting it on,
Kevin,
are just so willing to go to bat for this community time and time again. And they're expecting a record crowd tomorrow at the Ziedler's Theater.
Awesome.
Shout out to them. Looking forward to seeing
the Z.
The Z. Looking forward to that. And I mean, look, it's cool. It's cool. You know, things are a lot different than 2010, 2011, 2012. Shit's real. It's awesome. And it's cool that I might have had a very small piece to that puzzle way back when.
Well, I want to know.
Actually, your Beagle had more impact, I think, at the time, but
it's very true. Good old shout out to Ashbrook.
Shout out to Ashbrook. Pour one out for him.
Just side note, the amount of times I had to buy Chris Machut lunch because Ashbrook ate his freaking lunch is an unbelievable amount. Or Chris will come in and go, "Oh, dog on the trash can again. Dog ate my lunch again." No joke. Like dozens of times. I'm like,
well, I could have done a better job putting it away too, so don't even sweat it.
So what's SiteTrax? Dude, we see it on your hat, we see it on your shirt, we see it on the wall behind you.
Yeah, can I brand it some more?
How about the verbal branding? Yeah, what's going on today?
What's going on today? So we went on the journey at TugCam, HoistCam pivoted out. There's just customer discovery, Hatch assisted with this. There's only about 25,000 towboats in the world that we even had a market to go to with TugCam. So the Slover library was instrumental. When they had a tower crane out there, we had the footprint of the TugCam dialed in, and just walked on site. I've said this story a million times, but it still kind of blows my mind of asking for questions or asking for permission after you do it. So just walked on site and figured I can't get in trouble if I walk onto a construction site and say, "Hey, can I speak to the safety supervisor?" Nobody's going to argue with you. Yeah, you can talk to the safety guy, meaning I didn't have a hard hat or anything. Talked to the safety guy, and I was just carrying the TugCam, and I was like, "Hey, I see your guy's going behind the building every time he's grabbing that whatever he's grabbing on the other side of the building." And he finished my sentence. He goes, "Do you want to put that camera on my crane?" I was like, I looked up and 250 feet up in the air. It's like, I think so. And I'm thinking I'm having to climb the thing. And he's like, "No, what does it have on it?" Magnets. And yeah, magnets, and popped it on the hook block. And that's where HoistCam was born. And it wasn't just these tower cranes building the Slover library, it's the tower crane building the main. It's been overhead cranes in industrial facilities. It's been trains pushing rail cars. It's been telescopic boom cranes, excavators that dig down 5 stories deep into dirt. The use cases are absolutely limitless, and it's all because these operators that operate these multi-million-dollar machines oftentimes are operating in what's called the blind, and they can't see. And that's all it really flushed out, if you will, is that visual GoPro backup camera on big machines, but it has a massive impact on safety and productivity. At that same time, and this was towards the end of Hatch, Zach, 2016, was Hatch still around?
Yeah.
Yep. 17 at last. Well, I mean, technically it's still around, but the building, yes.
Another plug out to the state of Virginia, CIT. When it was CIT, it's now VIPC, right? I applied for a grant, found that the site supervisor on the site had wanted to see of the main, actually. He was like, dude, can I see the camera live? You go, why do you want to see the camera live? Because then, you know, the operators then being spied on. He was like, no, no, no. I just want to see what's going on. So we recorded it, put it on the SD card, brought it down to him. Next day, he and 4 of his guys from WM Jordan came trouncing into Hatch. Were you there for this?
No.
They came trouncing into Hatch, and you remember the conference room table that was in the front in the window, in the fishbowl, if you will?
Yeah.
They're like, we want to talk to you. I'm like, okay, well, what do we capture? What do we do wrong? They're like, you see this video? Do you see what he's doing? I go, yeah, he's picking up a load. Is there something not safe about it? He goes, I had no freaking clue he did that. Can you just tell me that he did that? I'm like, he doesn't just go on the radio and go, hey, Bob, I moved the rebar to the deck. No. Hey, I moved this there. I picked up that there. No, none of that happens. Can your camera just do that? And I was like, okay, what's that worth to you? That's just blew my mind. And this was literally 2015, because I submitted it to CIT for 2016 for a grant to investigate adding computer vision into HoistCam. It did exactly what it needed to do. We were awarded the grant. It was awesome. It was one of my first grants. I remember actually writing the grant in a blizzard of 2016, 2015, just heads down writing.
Did you walk to the office that day too?
No, I actually worked. I remember I was at home in my home office in the back bedroom and writing it all down and filling out the grant.
How much was this? How much was a CIT grant worth at back?
75 grand, man.
75. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it was enough. That's enough to actually do something, right?
It is a SIBR.
Yeah. No, not SIBR.
I think it was probably the
Innovation
commercialization.
Grant.
Commercialization.
Yeah,
Okay.
commercialization grant. Yep. Huge, because AI and computer vision was not yet there, bro. I've always been, unfortunately or fortunately, I've always been a little bit ahead of the curve of timing markets. Oh yeah, this market needs it now. Does anyone want it? No, not right now, but in a decade they will. Been one of the curses of mine. I needed about $25 million to put AI intelligence into HoistCam, and then the customer discovery side, nobody wanted to pay for it. And it just, like, the model didn't work. $25 million, and then I'd have to go after investors, and terrible fundraiser that I am, more an engineer at the time than a fundraiser. It was just like, yeah, we're gonna table this one for right now. Then the pandemic hit. You remember that?
Hard to believe.
299 episodes ago.
Pandemic hit, gentlemen, and the proverbial shit hit the fan with the supply chain. And the use case was born for SiteTrax. We had called it Site Tracker at the time because the concept was just, okay, if you can identify objects on the site, the code name for it was Site Tracker. And just, it was just difficult to figure out the customer, the price point. Nobody had had this information before, so they didn't know what to do with it. And locally, if you remember, the supply chain got all snarled up. So anyone that was involved in the supply chain, containers were everywhere. I remember seeing chassis and containers in my neighborhood parked over off of Virginia Beach Boulevard, like where Rosemont and Virginia Beach Boulevard, there's some like back roads in there. There were chassis and containers nowhere near the port in Virginia Beach. Long and short of it, nobody wants to pay, at least not right now, for a $10,000 HoistCam that goes on a multi-million-dollar piece of equipment. That same price for a $25,000, $30,000 truck. They don't want to pay that for a camera. But they would pay to have their cell phone identify objects. They would pay to have a security camera identify objects. They would pay to eliminate the fat fingering that happens when people have to manually data enter things into all of these different systems just to say this container's here, that chassis is here, that trailer's here, that truck's here. And that's what really drove the use case of data. But beyond that, or the data behind where SiteTrax exists today. But I also took a firm stance. There's these multitude of just doing research and customer discovery and understanding where the data wanted to go. One of the first customers local to here in Norfolk, Virginia, which is still one of our customers, basically said, no, I just want this to go into our existing system. I was like, well, why? And it's like, because X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, okay. And I kept having that conversation. Everyone used a different system. Everyone interfaced with a different system, but they all had to manually enter it in. I said, well, what if we just sent it to you? And for those of you at HR Dev Fest appreciate, what if we send it to you over REST API? Would that be of interest to you? And go, oh yeah, and then we can just integrate it with our existing software, or maybe you can just send me the data in a spreadsheet. And that's where it started. It's just
it's structured data that you send.
Structured data, the creation of data. Well, there's another big thing that's happening as a result of that. Big thing right now. 2 letters. AI. And all this AI that's happening, all these distributed systems that are happening, all this automation and software developers are going away. That's complete misnomer. No, it's just getting accelerated. This data is, data's always been gold. Agree or disagree, guys?
Agree.
Those who can create the data, and those that, when you know where your stuff is, you can start making decisions. The supply chain is extremely complicated, very disparate, all different types of personalities and personas and software platforms. But the one thing it constantly lacks is good information. As things become more automated, more AI systems are starting to collaborate and starting to accelerate, the bubble's gonna effectively, in my mind, burst when there's not enough data to feed the AI systems for the AI systems to actually act on it. All these data centers that are being built, they're called data centers. They're not called AI centers. They're building data centers for the AI, but the data is becoming secondary. Data is going to be that electricity in data centers is lacking for AI right now. And there's a big market for it, great investment opportunity, and the timing is now. The next wave, in my personal opinion, is data. Because you can't do anything, it doesn't matter how smart you are if you're working with bad information.
So your cameras, they're taking the unstructured world and structuring it into data. Is that what I'm understanding that right?
Yep.
And then I would imagine that would help from a project management standpoint too, no?
It helps all across the board, man.
Yeah.
It just starts with, I was blown away that the global supply chain doesn't work like Amazon and Walmart.
Yeah.
That, oh yeah, it's all organized and there's receipts and people are scanning QR codes, and no, it's just because it's not Amazon and Walmart. It's too large, like Amazon and Walmart, like to think that they run the whole global supply chain, but they don't. They candidly don't. It's way bigger of a problem than any of them could ever tackle. And once data can be ubiquitous across all these systems, that's when things will really accelerate.
Well, and the other thing too, man, is like anytime you put the human into the loop, man, mistakes are made, things can be fudged, exaggerated, whipped, whatever. And so if you're able to provide the ground truth so that you can expedite things to be much quicker, or if things need to, on the other end, if things need to be delayed because things aren't where they're supposed to be, that's cool.
Yeah, because right now it works and the supply chain works. It's because there's enough people, humans in the loop, that know that the weight information for this particular vendor, actually, they put it in the dollar field. And in the dollar field, they put the weight information. So we just know they always do that. So I just transpose it for them. You feed that into an automated system and tell it the weight is 45,000 pounds and that the dollar amount is 1.2 million. Oh, we'll just flip flop them. It's okay. It happens all the time.
So where do you think these robots, the AIs, all this is going in your world? Like we live in a logistics backyard, right? And that's really what we've been talking about.
Logistics hub, yeah.
And where do you see the future here? What do you see happening right here in our backyard? Because I know that I'm pretty sure you're not leaving, right? So you want to be a part of the forefront of that. Like what should we anticipate and see moving forward?
Once the AI gets to that point that it can actually do, and you mentioned, Tim, OpenClaw. I actually have a YouTube video and did a webinar this week on AI about agentic AI agents. I spent about 36 hours messing around with OpenClaw just so I can understand it. It's still vibe coding. It's so freaking cool, but it's a vibe code environment. You're not going to get an enterprise app out of it. When the AI can get to the point that it can develop all the user experiences, Tim, you want your instant game of solitaire. Zach, you want your instant game of tic-tac-toe. You want your instant yard management system. You want your instant kiosk for automated taking orders. When it can actually get there and develop close to enterprise apps that are managed by humans that actually architect it, you start, then the programming comes first. Once the programming and the AI, which it's demonstrating just in the last couple of weeks to a month, can start actually programming itself, that's when you start getting this exponential growth that's happening. And that exponential growth that happens with AI, and I don't know where it's going to intersect, is where then you can then have robotics leveraging that AI. But until the brain can operate the body, you really don't have any of that, the 12,000 different movies of the zombie apocalyptic computers taking over the world, Terminator kind of environments. The AI has to be able to control the robots. So then the robots come and help us, hopefully, as human beings. Nobody can say, I mean, that's a whole other conversation with a few glasses of whiskey and other libations to figure out what it's ultimately going to go. I like to lean more towards it's going to be good for all of us. It's going to be good for jobs. But there's going to be a lot of shakeup and a lot of change. And those that don't adopt, or those that don't adopt and adapt, will be the ones, and I don't hate to say it, and I hope it doesn't happen, rioting in the street.
Well, yeah, holding the bag, man. They'll be left holding the bag. It's wild, man. Wild to think.
It is wild to think. I obviously think about it a lot. That's my space. Our intellectual property is based on models that AI consumes. It's a fascinating thing for humanity, fascinating thing for business, fascinating time to be living, and just watching it all happening. Whatever I say today, though, is completely invalidated potentially tomorrow.
Week. Right. Yep. I mean, that's the whole thing that's crazy. I don't know if you guys heard any of this, but they were saying like by 2030, cell phones, smartphones, or whatever are going to be obsolete. It's just going to be a black box. And Chris, to your point, you just described what it is that you want for an app, and it's just going to spit the app out, and then you just your phone is just going to be. What's that?
What's the screen though?
It's just a blank screen, and like you provide the interface that you want, and then it will just customize.
I don't think that's going away. And I'll give you a very, very, very perfect example. You guys have the calendar link that you can book time with you.
Yeah.
Okay. So people can click on the link and schedule time with you and all that other stuff. You don't want to build that because you have to sit there with the AI and go, oh, but you didn't have this gear icon at the top right. Oh, what about the settings? But I want this setting, but I want light dark mode. You don't want to do that. Nobody wants to do that. There's still the value in the app store and the pre-built stuff. Candidly, I would, in a heartbeat, I will much rather pay a developer $50 that has already thought through all the workflows, pay him $50 one time, than pay an AI $50 or even $100 that I have to then constantly, dude, where was this feature that was supposed to be in there? Now, there absolutely are tinkerers, but there's absolutely having value of a turnkey, just dumb app and compensating a software developer for thinking through all those scenarios. Yes, the AI can do it, but it's not going to also read your mind.
Oh, yeah,
or is it?
Well, well, the other, not, I mean, who knew, that could be too, but just like what is the program right now that's catching a lot of attention, last 30 days or whatever, where it goes. Yeah, but the specific thing where it'll go back the last 30 days to whatever it is that you identify to highlight best practices or whatever, and then incorporate those best practices into.
Yeah, it can incorporate those best practices, but a calendar app is a very niche thing. It might.
Yeah.
So in OpenClaw, you can create what are called skills, and you can make it a amazing, follow all the fundamentals of an engineer. It is really annoying as an entrepreneur having to deal with that. I was actually just talking with my team today. What's this commit thing and push thing and pull thing and grab thing and merge thing and release thing? I don't even know what all those terms are. And the AI is asking me, do I want to do that? And like, so then said, yes, do all of those.
Yeah. Here's my chest of tokens. Take them all.
I said, take them all. I don't know what you just said, but and did it do what I wanted it to do? Oh hell no, it didn't. It was It was an absolute fantastic experiment.
Where do you feel on the trust of the OpenClaw?
I don't trust it as far as you can throw it. Isolate it to a computer. So the environment was set up, dedicated computer running on Ubuntu, 2 GPUs on it. We got first time I have ever been banned from Google. Thank you. I set up a Gmail account and Google went, "You're using a bot. Tell us what you're doing with it." I was like, "Ooh, okay." Set up a Gmail account for it, set up an Outlook account for it, set up an OpenAI account for it, set up a Claude account for it. Got it to basically, I think it blew through about $400 in tokens. And I went, uncle. And just a little plug.
And that's the thing that's crazy, man. Like when you start setting up these personas, arguably you could be using twice as many licenses as you do today, because with every replicant that you have, you know, they need a Notion license, they need a Slack license, and it's just like, dude, it's
your replicant. Well, that was my model. And just really quick, Zach, on the SiteTrax YouTube, I have a public video, 2.5 minutes of just me navigating through an OpenClaw interface. If you want to take a look at it, it's interesting because I just went from a use case of, and I worked with my team on this, like, what do we want to build here? And it's a multi-agent platform. So we created a director under SiteTrax, and then we have a marketing agent, technical agent, sales agent, and an operations agent. Have they done anything useful and practical for us yet? No. It's just fascinating experiment, and I encourage anyone to do it. Just sandbox the living sin out of it.
So I got into it. I bought a Mac Mini and tried getting it to go. I've not. Why would you
ever want a Mac? Oh, I'm sorry.
Whatever, Chris. Let me just get to my point, okay? So I set up everything. Google has not banned me yet, so that's nice. But the one of the main reasons why I did this is because Nasty Nate Schultz, Swim Nerd, was like, "Hey man, like I'm getting it to do all this stuff," and I've told Tim this multiple times. And so he calls me the other day. "How's it going?" I said, "It's terrible. Can't like you didn't tell me this was basically just me screenshotting, throwing that into the old robot and be like, yo, what is the like fix?
Yo, bro, what's going on?"
Just back and forth. Like it's been a lot and not really anywhere. So I say to him now, I'm like, "Are you tracking how much money you're spending?" He goes, nah, man. And I'm like, I think you should.
Dude,
Because
you think you should?
I think you should, because like I'm starting to see these random transactions, and I'm not. I'm like, I was telling Tim the other day, I was freaked out at a 27-cent transaction because I was like, well, what the hell is this?
What if it does 1,000 of them? That's your heartbeat.
Well, that was what I was worried about. I was like, what did I tell this thing to do? Because
that's why the human has to be in the loop, bro.
Right.
Yep, that's exactly it. And
so it hasn't hit again, but then today I had another transaction. I'm like, I don't remember doing this.
How much you dropped today?
Give you a little hack.
It was a $5 one, but I guess I did something.
Use the cloud providers when you are controlling it, and make sure your M4 is using your onboard memory and RAM. Have the cloud provider configure your local machine. And then that's how I got away from that.
I did do that. That was the first thing I did.
Unlimited API call and you get a $10,000 freaking cloud bill.
Can you imagine? Because there is a button, Tim, on this that says, how do you want us to charge this? Do you want us to easy pass this, where you, right? Because the standard easy pass is at a threshold, we'll just keep looping it, right? Yeah. Do you want to do that? Or you do what I do. They say I think it said a $5 to $100 credit. And I just put $5 in. I said one-time transaction, right? Because you can really get screwed there if you accidentally, unbeknownst to you, get something working, and it starts rolling, and it's like, Yahtzee. So as a non-technical person who is looking, I would just encourage anyone who has set this up to be monitoring your financial statements on a daily basis to make sure that thing is not doing something that could very much screw you. Because imagine you're like, I'm going to spend $1,000 on this project, and then we'll see where it goes, and accidentally that $1,000
turns into
is 10. Just going towards nothing. I mean, at this point, I haven't gotten it to work at all.
I walked away with nothing,
right,
materially, after the whole science experiment, except for knowledge, and that's what I really wanted. That if you go on this journey, this exercise, you're gonna, best case scenario, you walk out with knowledge and information, and you're empowered more to be thinking about the art of the possible, and that is literally the right thing to be doing right now. Break things quickly and learn where their limitations are. No, they're not taking, although I've had friends that have said, oh my God, I don't have a job anymore, that have literally been using OpenClaw. I'm like, dude, you're the most amazing software architect I've ever met. It's not going to be able to grab your personal creativity, know-how. You still got to communicate to it and drive it and direct it and all that other stuff.
It's a brave new world.
I'm excited, candidly. I'm not a doomsayer. I'm just be cautious, especially with OpenClaw.
Well, same deal, man. When people were messing around with Bitcoin at the very beginning, man, no one had any idea what they're doing.
Yeah, and Hatch, I remember Zach thought we were Bitcoin mining in the back, and no, it was even more lame than that.
No, I think I didn't care.
I wish I was.
It would have been nice if someone would have thrown me some of those coins back in the day too. But I don't think, if I recall, I don't think I was mad at it. I was just saying that the uptick in electricity bill went up, and I'm questioning whether or not that was the reason or not.
You were paying you had to pay the electric bill?
I don't remember. I would assume so. I would assume something like, I don't know why else I would have questioned that. I think they came in. I think they came in. I know that was, like if the water is running, like they'll come in after a while and be like, yo, I think you got a leak somewhere. I think Dominion, I'm assuming it was Dominion, came through and was like, yo, you're at 3x usage in the last week. Did you do anything?
I think it was the air conditioners, because I remember it being stupid freaking cold in there at times too.
All right, Jeremy Johnson. Tim?
Yeah. Chris, what is there a food of the region?
A food of the region?
Yeah, we got buffalo wings, and we've got Philly cheesesteaks, Chicago deep dish pizza, What is the food of Hampton Roads? Yeah, what can we market that we can attract people that they need to participate in?
The shrimp. That's new. Shrimp. Have you ever had the Virginia Beach shrimp, gentlemen?
No.
You need to.
What is
will.
what is the
You really should.
Don't
Try
wanna
it.
die. It's
Try
an
it
allergy. Why are you
before
trying
you
to kill
go.
me? I have an allergy.
how is it what's the
Yeah,
differentiation?
whatever.
What's the
What's that?
differentiation?
You've had Maine lobster, right? And then
I just told you I have a seafood
I know.
allergy.
I'm not Zach. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Tim right now. We're talking on the shrimp journey.
Tim doesn't eat seafood.
He needs to.
What but yeah, what is it? My wife, dude, she goes
It's
down on
sweeter.
shrimp.
It's a sweeter meat than your
Interesting.
traditional shrimp, and then your like Maine lobster. To me, it is. It's actually really good. It's a lot better than the South American shrimp, which tend to be just flavorless. It's actually really, really good. So if you're not allergic to shrimp, I like it just because it's also a regional food.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other things I would pick, but regional and
they
peanut.
literally brand it as Virginia Beach shrimp.
It comes in at
Haven?
what's the second street?
Lesnar?
Yeah, no, not Lesnar. That's Shore Drive. Down by the ocean.
Oh, Rudy Inlet.
Rudy Inlet. Thank you. Yep.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah, and it's a seasonal thing, and just look it up. I highly recommend it if you're not allergic.
Interesting.
Chris, thanks for the walk down memory lane. It's good to catch up.
Always.
Tim?
Yeah,
Final
man.
words?
Keep staying on top of it. We'll have to have you back for a part 2 of this, man. Because I was like, all right, if you're always 10 years early, what are you working on now that's going to happen in the next 10 years? But
we'll see you in episode 598, Chris.
I am looking forward to 598, and congratulations on 299. I hope your 300th is awesome, gentlemen.
If we move to a daily show, we could be there in a year.
That's right.
But
that's too much work.
Unlikely. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Episode 300 coming up. Chris Machut. Peace.